we're going on a little rainbow painting adventure because it's kind of different and that kind of makes it fun, makes it a little bit challenging. I'm feeling very Baby Spice at the moment. I'm sorry. It is officially Pride Month. Psh! We're gonna do some celebrating by painting some rainbow stuff. Another way I like to celebrate Pride is making a couple donations to some charities that support LGBTQ+ communities. So in the description, there's gonna be a couple places for you to donate. If that's also a way you like to celebrate, like me, I'll be donating to some of those too. I'm peer pressuring you to donate to charities. I think it's a great way to celebrate cool months like June. Speaking of Baby Spice and Pride, let's talk about for a second my big fat gay crush on Mel C, aka Sporty Spice. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a painting today with a little rainbow in honor of Mel C, my gay icon, Sporty Spice. The sketch I did for this painting is this little rainbow guy. It's pretty complicated. It's very drawing heavy, I feel like, for those of us who paint that aren't big on drawing. That definitely might challenge you a little bit, but it's really fun and kind of more like illustrative. Editor's gonna put the final product right here on screen, so if you wanna screenshot that and follow along, you're more than welcome to do that, or you can just follow along with me. We're gonna put all the colors I use on screen right there. We've got a whole assortment of brushes, a little painting palette, which is, I'm using palette paper. I've got a little cup of water, I got some paper towels, and I have a little piece of wooden MDF board that has been gessoed. First off, I think we're going to put like a light blue wash over this whole thing so we have like light blue to work on top of. And then we're gonna do some sketching out of where we want our clouds to be, where we want the rainbow to be. Oh, also, if you don't have the exact colors that I'm using for this painting, don't worry about it. Just use a blue, a yellow, a red, and a white, and you're gonna be just fine. I'm gonna get some blue on here. And I'm gonna get some white. Let's get out a big-ish brush. Cover a lot of surface pretty fast. What we're gonna do next, we're going to sketch out our little elements of this painting. So I'm gonna take our straight out of the tube blue here, and what I'm gonna do is use this as kind of like a pencil to draw out all my little elements here. So I'm just gonna sketch in some of the basic stuff here. I know I've got this rainbow in the center that's gonna arc through the middle of the painting. And I'm gonna start kind of like on this like 2/3 mark here. And I'm gonna curve it down to maybe like an inch from my corner here. So I did that first line and I thought it was actually a little bit too close, so I did the second line, which actually just makes a little stripe for us. On our other edge of our rainbow, I'm gonna start just a little bit below this corner here, and I'm gonna go to maybe the 2/3 mark here. And you might notice that our rainbow thickens a little bit as it goes down. So we got that rainbow, but we're gonna put some clouds in the front. We're gonna cover up some of that because the clouds are in the like closest, most foreground element to us. So I wanna start with my clouds kind of at the halfway point here, and I'm just going to really lightly sketch general little like curves here. So now that we've drawn out the general shape of where those are gonna go, let's add some of the details of the puffs. So this is just like adding small puffs on top of these big puffs, basically. These puffs are a little bit bigger because they're in the front. Same concept as when we go towards the back, we want the ones in the front to be bigger, the ones in the back to slowly get smaller. And then just so I know exactly where my rainbow is going to start, I'm gonna outline it real quick. Don't really need to, but just so that my brain knows exactly what goes where. This is kind of like we're making like a little coloring book for ourselves. So we definitely want our rainbow to be multiple colors and not just one color. So what I'm going to do is separate my rainbow in half. So halfway between these points, I'm gonna put a little dot. Halfway between these points, I'm gonna put a little dot. Halfway between these points, put a little dot so I can eyeball the curve that I want my rainbow to take, the halfway point. So there are 6 colors in the rainbow, so we want to have room for everybody. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. That's the order I did it on my sketch. So we've got everything drawn out. I'm not gonna draw in any little sparkles or anything yet because those are all gonna go on top of kind of like our final piece. Now what I wanna do is I'm gonna get a little bit of more white on my palette. Let's get some, do I have any magenta in here? I'm gonna get a little magenta sitting next to my blue. If you don't have magenta, red's gonna work just fine. We're gonna start with this guy, which I have used before, and it's a little bit bigger. We're going to mix up some colors of light blue, slowly shifting up in each cloud to get to more of a darker purpley kind of color. I haven't tested this yet, so we're figuring out what this is gonna look like together. So let's start with this light blue. I'm gonna take white, and I'm just gonna add it to our original background blue color. I'm changing my mind. I'm actually, instead of doing that, ignore that that's there. We're gonna start in the back with our darkest color and then move up. That way, when we do these like little puffs, we're not having to like really carefully get inside the lines and stuff like that. We'll be able to just like make these over the dried paint. You'll see what I mean. So I want some purple back there. So I'm taking my magenta or red, if that's what you got, and I am mixing them up. And because I want this to be pretty dark, I'm only gonna add a little bit of my whites, just a tiny little bit, just enough so that I'm confident it's going to be dark enough to be my background color, but not too dark. I kind of want this rainbow little cloudscape to be more pastel-y instead of super vibrant. Okay, so we are bringing this darkest color to the background, and we're kind of just like gently kind of going around the lines we drew for our clouds. I'm going to now shift this to get closer to what this color is. We're gonna add more blue and more white to get this color closer to our color down here. Blue and white, and get a color that's still pretty purple, but it's moving its way down, yeah, to blue. So now we can draw our little puffs without fear of those lines getting lost if we were drawing the other direction. If we were painting like this, and I'd have to go like, oh no, I need to paint around that. Nah, not for us. All right, now doing the same thing. Taking our white and blue, adding it into this color that we still have, and making bluer, lighter clouds. All right, got my blue and I got my white, and mix that up with only the tiniest little touch of that purpley magenta. Okay, let's pick out some colors for our rainbow. So to get those colors, I'm gonna one at a time mix up my whatever color I'm gonna use with white to make it a little bit softer. I want them to stay very, very vibrant, so I'm gonna stick with the pure colors as much as I can, and I'm gonna take some white. I'm gonna take my first color, which for me is gonna be red, and I'm mixing up my red with my white until I'm happy with this pastel-y red. I'm going to flip my, oh, I painted it. Flip my canvas like this, actually. This is something I do when there's a straight, smooth line that I really want to get perfect because I'm right-handed. So I've got all of that covered, but I'm noticing that it's still pretty see-through, so I'm gonna, because it's dry, go in with another layer. There you go, that's kind of nice. Just mixed up a nice little orange with red and yellow. It's definitely more on the challenging side. So if you're struggling a little with this painting, don't worry. I am, likely everybody else is. This is a hard one. I gotta let that dry for a second because it needs another coat, but in the meantime, I'm gonna do my pure yellow one because that one's definitely gonna need 2 coats too because it's gonna be very see-through. Wow, look like that, very Lisa Frank. Okay, so let's go back to that orange now that that's dry. Mix up some more of that. Is our yellow dry? Not quite, not quite. So why don't we move on to our green. Oh, we're waiting for that yellow to dry. So I'm gonna mix up my green with some blue and a bunch of yellow. Good boy, Gomez. Little car door just closed outside and he didn't move a muscle. He's either dead or asleep or he's being a very good boy. Car doors freak him out. There's a bunch, oh my God. So let's go back to that yellow. That definitely needs another little layer from us. Oh, it might need a third one. Oh, a little yellow. Okay, let that little yellow dry up some more. And we'll give it another try. So our blue is actually made pretty close to what this blue is here, but I think I want to maybe lighten it just a bit and make it really smooth and obviously cover up some of that. So maybe before we do that blue, I think I'm actually going to do my purple just to see how it looks next to the blue. So I can be really particular about what that blue color looks like. So for the purple, I'm going to use my magenta. Or you can use a little bit of red and blue mixed together. This is one of those times where I like having this specialty color magenta because it gives me really beautiful colors. Yeah, look at. Oh, I like. Okay, let's give this yellow line a little more love here. And then hopefully she'll be done. Before we do our final blue color, I am going to change the screen a little bit because it's too dark for me. All right. Yeah, I like that so much better. Just really stands out much more now. And we gotta do that final blue stripe there, which we're just gonna do white and blue. Okay, we're gonna leave our base color rainbows there. Now we're gonna start details. The way I'm gonna work on this is starting from the front to the back on our clouds, and then we're gonna come in with maybe some details on our rainbow. Right now, we're moving on to our clouds down here. So we're gonna create some puffs. This is kind of a similar technique to what we did in this video, which will be linked in the description. It's a cloud painting tutorial. We're gonna do a base color. I think this, how did we do that one? Yeah, we did a base color, and then we slowly got lighter to build our highlights. So we've got a light blue here. So we want to mix up a light blue that's a little bit lighter than this. So this darkest color here, our background color, we don't want to cover all of that up. But we do want to start building stuff on top of that color to kind of create this look. That light is hitting the top of these little round puffs and creating some lighter spots and leaving some shadow spots. All right, now that that highlight's done, let's get a little bit lighter. Add some more white to our blue. It's getting closer to white. And I actually think I'm going to go down a brush size as well for the details. This guy, a little round brush. And sticking to the tops of our clouds and anywhere where I want a little top of a puff to be, that's where I'm adding this color. So this part we're doing lots of layering to get that fluffy effect. Our light source is coming from up here, so we want to make sure that we're prioritizing light that would be hitting the top of these clouds, remember. Now, I'm gonna go in with my pure white and more of a liner brush for details. That guy. Something smaller so I can get some details in here, and I'm gonna go pure white, no blue added, and this is where we're gonna get the most detailed. And we can really define the shape of these clouds, these little tops that we have here. Okay, bottom clouds done. So next, we're gonna do these clouds. Because there's a lot more room to paint these, we're gonna do a couple different layers of light blue. Also, as we move up, we need to remember there's a tiny little bit of red or magenta in this, so we just gotta keep that in mind as we're painting. Mix up a blue that's just a little bit lighter than this blue. Do a shift, do a stretch, move down, or move up, adding more white to that color. For this color, I'm using a lot of this like dry brushing technique where I don't have much paint on my brush. I'm just kind of scrubbing what's left over to get this blended effect. So I think I'm almost going to my pure white, but before we do that, your girl needs a little spritz and more white. So we're taking this light blue, we're defining a little more of these cloudy edges here, especially near the bottom, because we're not going to put as much of this pure white on the highlights on the bottom of this cloud. We're going to put some more up here to really define it. So now let's go back in with our pure white with a nice little brush and add some of these details here. Let's get some of this white in here, nice thin liner brush, and really start defining these clouds from the background clouds. I think I'm not loving using the little brush. I'm going back to a bigger brush. So now we're moving farther back again. We're gonna do no bright white highlights, mostly stay in dark, so we wanna do a color that's slightly darker than this. So let's mix that up, and we're gonna bring that magenta or red into the mix once again, because that definitely has some purple in it. That is going to be light enough that it stands out, but still pretty dang dark. Because these clouds are further back from us, we're not needing to do nearly as many details. And look at that let's leave that as simple as that for right now. And then as it dries, if we want to like add some more details, that's fine. But like for right now, let's move to the next layer. So for this layer, I'm going to add more blue and purple. And then for our very last layer, oh, my mic cord is like all over my face now. What am I doing, bub? Oh, big yawns. Let's make a color that's very close to that there. I'm gonna add lots of purple to this one. Not too many, because this is so far away from us, we're not getting much detail at all. So I just want to put in just a little indication that there's some cloud puffs back there. All right, I think that is mostly done with my clouds. I think as I'm like stepping back and like looking at it, I want to add a little more of this pure white to these bottom clouds here and kind of just define them a little bit more. I think I'm gonna add another layer of slightly lighter blue up there because I'm just realizing that I want it to be a little bit darker. Remember I was like, oh, maybe I'll come back and add another color there. I am. So now I want to go in with a little more details. Is that dry? Yeah, that's all dry. A little more details here. So what I wanted to do earlier is kind of, this is tricky. This is a little more advanced. I wanted to show the outline, like the rainbow's transparent, that there are clouds behind there. What I need to do is if I want it to be the shadow, I need to define it from the back. So I need to draw where the cloud would be and pull that color up a little bit like this to show its transparency. See that? Ooh. This is advanced. Don't freak out here. Don't freak out if this is way too much. So that's just gonna show that the clouds continue behind the rainbow and you can see through it. Let's make some orange. Do the same thing. Make an orange that's darker than the orange I have here. And I draw where those clouds are following and then bring that color up a little bit. Same here, and I want these to connect. So like this piece here needs to connect with that. From there to there, so I gotta make sure it's moving in that direction. All right, let's do our yellow. So for the yellow, I'm gonna have yellow and then I'm gonna use some of that orange to kind of define it as a little bit darker. This guy's gotta get to there. I'm gonna bring it up like this. Oh, I am into this. Okay, let's do our green. How do I want this to go? That's too blue. Gotta add some yellow. And our blue. I have not tried this before, this like attempt to make this rainbow transparent. I'm like stoked. I'm stoked on how it's turning out. I'm like, yeah. I'm taking a little bit of a slightly lighter version of the color, the rainbow color. And I'm adding a little bit of that, just a tiny bit. I don't want to go too crazy on this. I'm already like going nuts here. Now that I like how that transparency went, I'm gonna go a little crazy and I'm going to create some streaks and dots to kind of get like a sparkly, shiny effect on my cloud here, right there in the center. I'm gonna do that by mixing up a light version with a lot of water in it. And I'm gonna go like, this is gonna be scary. So let's do that with the orange. How about some yellow? Now I'm gonna go extra crazy and go in with some pure white that's really watered down. And a liner brush, a nice thin one, like this guy. Concentrating some in the middle there to kind of give the arc of the rainbow like a shine to it. See how I'm doing the streak, and then I'm kind of using my finger to like rub it down, kind of blend it in, give it a little shimmery effect. Now, I can't do a painting unless there's sparkles on it. Well, that's not fully true, but I always want to put sparkles on my paintings and I'm always holding back. So I'm gonna take my pure white and my tiny little liner brush and I'm gonna start centering some dots. Also like purposefully having the sparkles kind of come in to a little more of a point. We also want some sparkles on the rest of it, so let's add some, not as many as the center there. We can tap some little sparkles on here. We also want big sparkles. And to do these big sparkles, what I'm gonna do is create a really light blue, light enough so that it stands out. And I'm gonna create these little crossy diamond shapes that kind of look like a T, but they're slightly rounded on the inside to create like a little diamond. Let me show you what I mean. So we're gonna do a T, bring this down, and a little plus sign here, and I like to make it a little bit taller there. And then we're going to round the inside like this to create a big sparkle. I want to do another one next to it here. So within these sparkles, I'm going a little bit smaller for my brush. We're gonna do a little bit of a lighter blue, so it looks like these little sparkles are kind of emanating light. I'm gonna take our lighter blue, and we're gonna do kind of the same thing in the center. Filling in, not all of it, so it kind of has like a little glowy effect to it. Now, we go in with our liner brush, and our bright white, pure white, and we draw a little diamond in the center. And then from here, I'm just going to use my bright white to put sparkles wherever the heck that I want. Just adding some dots around my sparkles. I want to put some more of the white streaks in the center. Ta-da! Sparkle, 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 rainbow sparkle. Ended up not being as pastel as I thought it was going to be, and that's fine. I think there's definitely things I would change about this piece, but overall, it was extremely fun. It's very happy to look at, and I might go back and like rework some stuff later possibly, but for right now, I'm really happy with this. I think this turned out very fun and exciting. Wow, this is a long one. I don't even know how long this took. Editor put how long this took. Jeez Louise, that was a long one. But if you, by chance, want to see me paint every brush stroke, you can support me on my Patreon channel, where I have the full-length, unedited version of this painting, along with a bunch of other paintings, listed there exclusively for my patrons to watch the whole ding-dang thing, follow along with every brush stroke, which is super awesome because they're super awesome. It's a really great, it's a thank you to them for financially supporting me and making me able to continue to put out painting tutorials and to paint for me and all that kind of stuff. It is very, very, very wonderful and helpful. Happy Pride to you. Don't forget, if you want to make a donation to one of the charities below, click those links. Ta-da, and I'll see you in the next video.